in Minneapolis. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is the fastest growing talk radio station in Southern California. Home to 50,000 watts and an audience reach of 12 million listeners. KBLA Talk 1580 is a pioneer for black audio content, including our groundbreaking $2 million climate justice campaign and the most loyal, influential audience. According to an independent research study by the polling firm Aviterus, for the second consecutive year, KBLA Talk 1580 is the most trustworthy, reliable, and credible news source for black audiences and beyond in Southern California. Let KBLA Talk 1580 power your advertising dollars. Our omni-channel custom marketing solutions are specifically tailored to connect with your ideal target audience. We leverage audio, podcasts, streaming, digital, social media, and local activations to get your message out to the black community. Get in touch with our advertising team today at advertising@KBLA1580.com. That's advertising at KBLA1580.com. KBLA 1580. We've got you black.
Oh, I like to greet the sun each morning and walk amongst the stars at night. I'd like to know the taste of honey in my life, in my life. Well, I've shared so many pains, and I played so many games. Oh, but everyone finds the right way somehow, somewhere, someday. Whoa, soon I'd like to fly far away from here.
I'm Tavis Smiley, and that's Lionel Richie and the Commodores sounding pretty good today. I hate to step on Lionel and the Commodores, but the show must go on, as they say. In this hour, and I'm glad to have you with us. I'm Tavis Smiley, and we are in the second hour of our program today. Thanks for hanging out with us. In this hour, two conversations on the B side of this hour. Crime Con founder Kevin Balfe and Black and Missing advocate Joyce Sutton on the Crime Con weekend event experience for true crime fans, creators, and professionals. We'll talk about highlighting black stories in the true crime genre and the importance of believing and supporting victims. So we'll talk about Crime Con. I love these major conferences. You got Comic Con, now you got Crime Con, all these conferences that are happening around the country. So we'll talk about Crime Con on the B side of this hour. But we commence this hour with our friend and brother, retired Judge Wendell Griffin, who joins us to discuss a recent decision by the Arkansas Supreme Court to uphold restrictive state election laws and the impact that this decision will have on voters, but black voters in particular is my concern, and we'll get to that in just a second. Judge Griffin, good to have you back on the program today, sir. How are you?
Brother Tavis, I'm doing well today. How are you, sir?
If I complained, I'd be an ingrate, man. I'm doing well and always delighted to be in conversation with you. I would be remiss, and not even just remiss, but frankly stuck on stupid to have a judge of your stature, retired nonetheless, a judge of your stature on this national program, and not give you a chance to at least express yourself on the news of the day. There is much news of the day, but I'm talking specifically about the fact that the jury in the Donald Trump case in New York City, the Stormy Daniels, Hush Money, Michael Cohen, that one. The jury in that particular case now has the case. They are deliberating even as we speak. I don't need to color it much more than that for you, but we are at that moment. What say you, sir?
Oh, well, yeah, and thanks for having me on. The fact of the matter is, this is the thing that Donald Trump least wanted of all. Mm-hmm. He did not want to have his future decided by 12 ordinary people who had been given instructions by a judge about what the law is, not what Trump wants it to be or what his lawyers would like for it to be, but what the law is, and have to wait now Donald Trump has to do like every other person who's accused of a crime, who's charged with a crime in the United States, and goes to trial. He now has to sit and wait. And he will wait until the jury announces that it has reached a verdict, or if the jury has questions, he'll wait until the jury lets their questions be known. He'll have to go back to court and hear the questions, and his lawyers will have to talk with the judge about that. But he is now, no matter how rich or how famous or how much of a celebrity Donald Trump would like himself to be, he is in the every person situation now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first thing. Secondly, we have to think about what the options are. Number one, he's charged with 34 separate felony counts.
Mm-hmm.
He could be found not guilty or guilty, or the jury could hang up on any of those counts. For instance, they could say, we can reach a decision of guilty or not guilty on any counts between 1 and 34, or we can find that we are unable to unanimously agree on those counts. But if they find a guilty verdict on any of the counts, then Donald Trump is no longer defendant Trump. He is now convicted Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And then that puts him in the situation of having to go before the New York pre-sentencing body.
Yeah.
He has to answer all kinds of questions and has to come back to be sentenced at some later point in time. So we wait.
Yeah. There are a couple questions right quick I want to ask, and then we'll spend the rest of our time talking about this Arkansas Supreme Court decision. You mentioned those 34 counts. There have been those who have said all along, and certainly in the black community, we know this better than anybody. We know far too well the story of being overcharged. That is a tactic when it comes to black defendants, overcharging them, throwing everything against the wall, hoping that something sticks, if not everything. There are those who argue, with all due respect to our friend and brother Alvin Bragg, the DA in New York City, that Donald Trump was overcharged in this case. You write a number of checks, all hush money checks, and every time they wrote a check, that becomes another charge. Is it your view that Donald Trump was overcharged in this case?
No. That's typically done by any prosecutor who has any sense about how you do the job. Every one of those checks is allegedly a separate offense. And the prosecution has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that A, Donald Trump wrote the checks, B, Donald Trump wrote the checks for an illegal purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And if the prosecution proves that, Donald Trump is guilty. But that separate kind of count for each of those instances is not overcharging. That's the way the law works.
Yeah. When we come forward with Judge Griffin, I've got two other quick questions I want to ask about this case. Again, if you've just tuned in, just keep reiterating this for those who I know people tune in here and there, different times of the day. But the jury has the case in the Donald Trump, Stormy Daniels hush money case, and so that's what we're talking about, in case you just turned us on. Two more questions about that, and then we'll get into this Arkansas Supreme Court decision, a ruling over, challenging state election laws, and what that means for voters in Arkansas and beyond, for that matter. You're listening to Judge Wendell Griffin right now, and I'm glad about it, on Tavis Smiley.
This is getting good.
Yeah, man.
Tavis Smiley continues when we come forward.
Hey y'all, Mona Swain here from Target's new YouTube series, My Cart is Full, where we feature Black founders and creators highlighting their connection to our community. As an actor and content creator, I love using my voice to inspire young Black women who look like me. When it comes to feeding my shine, seeing myself reflected in Black-owned and founded products at Target brings me joy. Together, we are Black Beyond Measure. Learn more at target.com/Black Beyond Measure.
Cookie wants to be a professional wrestler.
I'm Cookie Serratos, and I'm 11 years old.
She also wants to win all the medals. That's why Cookie and her family make every day count, squeezing out her best with Go-Go Squeeze.
Okay, Cookie, let's break for a Go-Go Squeeze.
Go-Go Squeeze Fruit on the Go pouches are a nutritious snack made from 100% fruit with no sugar added.
Go, Cookie!
Because when you nurture your kids, you squeeze out the best in them. Squeeze out the best with Go-Go Squeeze. Not a low-calorie food. Products range from 11 to 13 grams of sugar and 60 to 70 calories per serving.
Salutations, kinfolk and family. It's Blink Johnson. Los Angeles is known for some of the greatest tacos in the world, but none better than the Original Taco Pete. Visit them online at originaltacopete.com or check them out at 3272 Slauson Avenue near the corner of Slauson and Crenshaw, or 2251 Rosecrans Avenue, or you can always have Grubhub, DoorDash, or Uber Eats delivered. Original Taco Pete, home of the Black Taco. Black owned for over 35 years and 4 generations.
Have you been a victim or witness to hate or discrimination? Contact the California vs. Hate hotline to report the incident by calling 833-8-NO-HATE or visit cavshate.org. They'll help you access resources and support, including legal, financial, mental health, and mediation services. California vs. Hate is not affiliated with the police, and you can report anonymously. Use your voice. Report hate by calling 833-8-NO-HATE or visit cavshate.org. Res Radio 91.3.
When you get nachos, tacos, empanadas, spicy queso with jalapenos, Pepto-Bismol's there. Pepto-Bismol provides fast, effective relief from nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, and diarrhea. All the things that can happen unexpectedly on vacation. So before you travel, pack the Pepto. Pepto-Bismol.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Pizza's here. Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Smart talk for curious people just like you. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Thank you very much. I would say, in listening to the charges from the judge, who's, as you know, very conflicted and corrupt, because of the confliction, very, very corrupt. Mother Teresa could not beat these charges. These charges are rigged. The whole thing is rigged. The whole country's a mess between the borders and fake elections, and you have a trial like this where the judge is so conflicted he can't breathe. He's got to do his job. And it's not for me, that I can tell you. It's a disgrace. And I mean that. Mother Teresa could not beat those charges, but we'll see. We'll see how we do. It's a very disgraceful situation. Every single legal scholar and expert said this is no case. It shouldn't be brought, and it certainly could have been brought 7 years ago, not in the middle of a presidential election. It was all done by Joe Biden. This judge contributed to Joe Biden, and far worse than that, but I'm not allowed to talk about it because I have a gag order. Far worse than that, by 1,000
Okay, thanks. I just want to give you a little sound. He goes on. I love Donald Trump. I'm not supposed to, I can't talk about it because I got a gag order. Well, I think you just did. But he knows, whatever you think of Donald Trump, Judge Griffin, I guess, by the way, is Judge Wendell Griffin, retired judge in Arkansas, a brilliant jurist for many years, and I'm glad to have him on today. The timing could not be more propitious. But there are a number of things there I'm sure Judge Griffin will want to comment on. One, he's bashing the judge once again, and these comments were just moments ago, a little while ago. While the jury is deliberating right now, Donald Trump stepped to the microphone and talked to reporters. That's a bit of what he had to say. So he bashes the judge again, calls him conflicted and corrupt. That's number one. Says, I can't talk about this, but he just did. Another moment of violating the gag order. But then he's handicapping this thing, man. He's handicapping this. Mother Teresa couldn't beat these charges. Donald Trump knows how to work that thing, Judge. Whether you like him or not, he knows how to work it.
If anything, Donald Trump is a salesperson. Donald Trump could sell bad skin to a snake. And the fact of the matter is that he knows that there is a part of the American public that will believe anything. Somebody said, a fool. There's a fool who will buy anything, and there are some people who will buy anything. Donald Trump knows that, number one, a number of legal experts have said, yes, these charges are legal. Number two, even if they hadn't, the issue about the legality of the charges has been tried and challenged before this judge, and Donald Trump lost. The judge had that case, had that issue. Donald Trump lost. He knows that. Number three, the notion that Mother Teresa couldn't meet the charges. Well, Mother Teresa wouldn't be charged with lying about a doggone affair and using it to try to influence an election. I mean, Donald Trump isn't charged with anything that anybody else wouldn't be charged by if they'd done the things that he's allegedly done.
Mm-hmm. No, it's a bizarre comparison, Mother Teresa, given what the case is. And again, it speaks to Donald Trump just being, I used the word tone deaf earlier in our last time. I'm using that word again. Here it is, tone deaf. It's a hush money case with a porn star. I'm not sure that Mother Teresa is the best reference in a case like this, but I digress. That's Donald Trump for you. Two quick questions. I want to save some time to talk about this Arkansas Supreme Court decision, as I promised I would. One, given all your experience, you've done this for years. You maybe didn't watch this case every day, but you saw the highlights of it. What is your experience over the years watching and participating in cases like these, where you can get one person? I know it's a case by case basis. There's no one size fits all. I'm just trying to handicap whether or not Donald Trump can get one person even to hang this jury, believing that Michael Cohen just was not a credible witness.
Well, you never say that they can't get one person. There's always a possibility of getting one person. And so that's what the prosecution knows, and that's why I think they went to great lengths to put on a whole lot of proof before Michael Cohen ever saw the courtroom.
Mm-hmm.
And even if Michael Cohen is not believed on everything, they've got a whole lot of proof. And then the fact that Michael Cohen has a checkered history doesn't make him unbelievable. We have a saying down south: even a stop clock tells the right time twice a day.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Nope.
And so Donald Trump can argue about Michael Cohen and his credibility. His lawyers can, but here's the easy retort: who trusted Michael Cohen to be a liar? Who paid Michael Cohen to lie? And who kept Michael Cohen on his payroll to lie for him for years until he decided he did not want to have Michael Cohen's lies catch up to him? Donald Trump. And so Michael Cohen is not on trial in this case.
I'm just laughing.
Donald Trump is on trial.
I'm just laughing because the judge has come off the bench and now he's on the floor arguing for the prosecution and making their case. And I was tickled by that. But that is the salient, or those are the salient questions. I take your point. Last quick question here on this. We move to Arkansas. Donald Trump, if he is found guilty, will be, as we all know, campaigning as a convicted felon. Just curious as to your own personal point of view. This is not about the law. This is about you being an American citizen and a voter. What say you about the prospect for the first time ever of us having a major party nominee campaigning for president as a convicted felon?
Let's talk about both of the sides of that point, Brother Tavis, and you raised it very well. First of all, as you mentioned, there's the legal side, and then there's the simply public image side. Everybody in every state in the country knows that a convicted felon cannot, under state law, hold office.
Mm-hmm.
Hold office in any state, from Alaska to Virginia or Washington State. In any state, if you have a convicted felon. On the other hand, there's nothing in the United States Constitution that prevents Donald Trump, if he's convicted of a felony, from serving as president, even possibly from prison. I mean, I know it's counterintuitive, brother. It makes no sense. I mean, you would pull all your hair out and think, this is nuts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
idea that a major political party, number one, would offer a convicted felon for the highest office in the land. Number two, he would be the person who is capable of pardoning and has promised to pardon people. A convicted felon promised to pardon people who've been convicted felons. I mean, the more you talk about it, I wish Richard Pryor was alive, because Richard Pryor would have a fit with this.
I never thought about that. If Donald Trump wins, you would have a convicted felon pardoning other felons. I mean, that...
And the other felons would say, how dare you deny my pardon?
Yeah.
You convict. You're a convict like me.
Yeah.
And you're going to look down your nose from wherever you are.
Wow.
I mean, and let's think about it.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to go to prison. The judge can put him on probation, put him on home confinement.
Mm-hmm.
Now, imagine being on home confinement in the White House.
In the White House.
The White House. Okay. Now, a convicted felon on home confinement, how can he travel abroad?
Yeah. I hope the late night comedians are listening, because Judge Griffin's giving you material. He's giving you all the material you need for your late night shows tonight. Are you listening, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel? Oh my God, he's giving you all the material you need for the late night shows tonight. I digress on that, but it's sobering. It's funny, but it is sobering to think about. And so I'll be noodling on that the rest of the day. Leave it to Judge Wendell Griffin. That's why you have brilliant jurists on the show as often as you can, to get you to see things and process things just a little bit differently. I've got just a few minutes left here. And I want to. Sure.
Let me ask.
Sure.
How do parents get their children to obey the law?
When the president is convicted felon.
When the president is a convicted. How do you get your children to listen to the teacher in the classroom, obey the principal in the school, in the middle school, and follow the rules in high school, when the president of the United States is a convicted felon and is laughing about it?
I hope the late night hosts alone aren't listening. I hope the Biden campaign is listening, because this is what Joe Biden ought to be laying into when they get to that first debate next month, just a few weeks away. The calendar's been moved up early, so the first debate will be a few weeks away. I think CNN is up first, then ABC. So just a few weeks away. But I hope the Biden campaign is listening, because what Judge Griffin just said is the line that Joe Biden ought to be running. How? That's what the Biden campaign ought to be doing when they get to that debate. So, Faraji, we should send them the podcast of this program, just in case the White House isn't listening. Somebody get this to the campaign and to Corinne Pierre, so they can get it to the president. But anyway, that's that. I got a few minutes left, and I haven't even gotten to why I wanted you on. So let's just do this in the 5 or 6 minutes I have. At least you can top line this for us. Tell me quickly what happened in Arkansas regarding these restrictive state election laws and what the impact will be moving forward.
Let me give you the 2-minute speech, Brother Tavis.
Okay.
Thank you for having me on, first of all.
My pleasure.
In 2020, we all know Donald Trump was defeated. In 2021, the Arkansas legislature, Arkansas went all in for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And so Arkansas legislature, super majority Republican. Arkansas legislature passed 4 laws to make it harder for voting. First one was a voter ID law. We had a voter ID requirement, but if you didn't have voter ID, you could sign an affidavit attesting you're a registered voter, and you can still vote. They changed that and said, no, if you don't have an affidavit, you still have to have a photo ID, and you cannot have the affidavit requirement. That's the first thing that's gone. Secondly, they said you have to have your signature has to match your signature on your voter registration card. I'm 71 years old, okay? My signature doesn't match what it did when I was 65. I've been voting since I was 18.
Mm-hmm.
What if you've had a stroke? You have muscular dystrophy? What if you're paralyzed? I mean, those are problems.
Sure.
Thirdly, absentee ballot requirements. We could previously return absentee ballots on the Monday before the Tuesday election. They changed it, said, no, you got to return the absentee ballot on the Friday before. Excuse me, what happens if you decided to vote absentee only on Sunday? If you got sick and you couldn't go in person on Saturday, now you can't return an absentee. You can't vote absentee because you can't return it on Monday. And finally, they have a law that says you cannot approach anybody in the line to vote within 100 feet of the exterior entrance of a polling place for an unlawful purpose. Now, what that does is that places a real question: what's an unlawful purpose? Because we have an Arkansas law, as every state does, against electioneering, handing out materials, all that kind of stuff. But what this has done, our people, older people in rural areas, in urban areas where you have high voting, have to stand in line a long time.
Yeah.
How you bring them water? How you bring a chair? Yeah. Oh my God! So this is the challenge was made by the League of Women Voters and a advocacy group for immigrants, and I decided in 2022 that all 4 of those laws were unconstitutional under the Arkansas Constitution, and the Arkansas Supreme Court last week decided, hey, Griffin, you're wrong, and so they reversed my decision and they threw out the case. So all 4 of those laws now work to cause a hardship on voters. How does it affect black folks? Hey, you don't have a voter ID.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of reasons why you may not have a voter ID.
Yeah.
If you don't have a voter ID, then now you have to go to some place and get a photo ID, or you cannot vote. Secondly, if your grandma doesn't sign her name the same way you did when she first started voting, now anybody can challenge her.
No, I get it.
And we know that the Republicans are challenging folks.
Yeah, it is. I'm glad to have access to you because you are the judge that wrote the law, and then the Arkansas Supreme Court has now overturned his law, finding these things unconstitutional. I've got 45 seconds here, a tight 45. Here's my question. Why is a state that is already so supermajority Republican, so red, I mean the reddest red state, why is the state so red still working so hard to suppress votes?
Because there are pockets of blue in the red state.
Okay.
Pulaski County, where I am, Little Rock, is blue. And after 2020, the Arkansas legislature redistricted Pulaski County, and now Pulaski County is in 3 congressional districts, Tavis. 3 congressional districts, 1 county.
Yeah.
Now, what that means is the one legislator, the one congressperson who is most vulnerable now has more white voters from a north central county.
Yeah, that's
and these 4 laws make it harder to vote.
No, it makes all the sense. I ain't naive about it, and clearly neither are you. I get it. It's too much like right, as my big mama would say, for them to have left your law, your ruling, your decision stand. They had to overturn it. It is what it is, and so the fight continues, the struggle continues, and this program will continue, and we'll continue the next time he's on the program to talk about some other issues with Judge Wendell Griffin. Judge, always good to have you on the program. Thanks for your insights. You got me thinking, man. I appreciate you as always.
Brother Tavis, thanks for inviting me. God bless you, man. Keep up the good work.
Likewise. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know the United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time? Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. A pretrial hearing is set for today for disgraced movie producer Harvey Weinstein. Prosecutors are looking for a retrial on rape and sexual assault charges after a conviction earlier this year was vacated by New York's Court of Appeals, who argued jurors saw too much evidence not relevant to the case. Weinstein was found guilty of rape in the third degree as well as forcing himself on a production assistant. Chicago, Illinois is coming off a violent Memorial Day weekend that included more than 40 people shot and 9 of them were killed. African-American Mayor Brandon Johnson reacted to the crime wave yesterday by saying that the city continues to provide support services to families that are dealing with trauma from the loss of a loved one. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Seasons change. Why not your tech? Upgrade now during the Dell Technologies Summer Sale event and save on select PCs like the XPS 16 powered by Intel Core processors. Exceptional prices await you at Dell.com/deals.
Every day, a child in poverty waits for a sponsor is another day of hopelessness. There are thousands of kids who've been waiting over a year. End their wait. Sponsor a child with compassion today. Just text the word radio to 83393.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The LA Sparks got some revenge on Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. After losing to the Fever Friday at Crypto.com, the Sparks beat the Fever by 6 in Indianapolis Tuesday night. The Sparks are 2-4 in the first month of the WNBA season. 22 points for Sparks guard Kia Nurse. The Sparks overcame a 30-point performance by Clark. The Sparks are at Chicago Thursday night. The Dodgers swept the Mets in New York to snap a 5-game losing streak. The Dodgers and Mets played 2 games Tuesday to make up for Monday's rainout. The Angels beat the Yankees by 1. Taylor Ward's 2-run double in the 8th was the game winner. The Boston Celtics will have to wait a little longer to know who they will play in the NBA Finals. The Minnesota Timberwolves avoided a sweep in the Western Conference Finals with a 5-point win at Dallas. Game 5 is Thursday in Minneapolis. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Linking social justice and climate justice all year long. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
When I move my body, I feel like freedom. Happy anniversary, KBLA.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
And they wondered if a black talk radio station would work in Southern California.
Y'all did it!
Well, KBLA Talk 1580 toasts its 3rd anniversary on Juneteenth, and you're invited to celebrate with us.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, y'all the bomb!
All you have to do is go to KBLA1580.com right now and sign up. Admission is free, but mandatory, and space is limited. Once we reach capacity, we'll have to cut off the online registration, but it's open right now.
Oh my God!
So don't delay.
Thank you guys for being the best at what you do.
Log on to KBLATalk1580.com right now and register to join us for an afternoon of good music, good people, and good vibes.
Happy anniversary.
Wednesday, June 19th, 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. We will provide the food and drink, but be sure to bring your low-back chairs, blankets, and your personal picnic baskets.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Let's celebrate 3 years of being the most trusted, credible, and reliable source of news and information.
We love you, KBLA.
We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we're black and stride again.
Black and stride again.
Happy anniversary.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
Hi, this is Quentin. A little thing I love about Chick-fil-A chicken strips are how satisfying they are. The chicken strips are amazing. They're always filling, crispy, tender, and juicy. Definitely one of my favorite things on the menu. Especially when you add in that Chick-fil-A sauce. Always the perfect combination. And then personally, you know me, I'm getting a 4 count. I want as much chicken as possible. I'm that guy. Whenever I get them, whether it be lunch or for dinner, in my household, it's always a winner.
Order the chicken strips on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real customer paid for their testimonial.
Let's get back to more of Tavis Smiley right now.
It's a man's world, but check the girl with the Mac 11, 187. Hit the switch front, back, side to side, corner to corner. Punk, you a goner.
I'm Tavis Smiley. Glad to have you hanging out with us today on the program. As promised, the conversation now about Crime Con with Crime Con founder Kevin Balfe and Black and Missing advocate Joy Sutton on the Crime Con weekend event experience for true crime fans, creators, and professionals. We'll also talk about highlighting black stories in the true crime genre and the importance of believing and supporting black victims. I am pleased to welcome Kevin Balfe to this program. Kevin, how are you today, sir?
I'm well, Tavis. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you on. Joy Sutton, how are you today?
I'm doing well. We're excited to be here and to raise awareness about this important topic, so we appreciate you having us on.
It is my great honor. Kevin, let me jump right in and make the most of this these 25 minutes or so that we have here. Tell me about Crime Con.
Sure. My favorite topic.
I imagine. I imagine, yeah.
Yeah, we started around 7 years ago. Really, more opportunistically. It felt like something was missing in this space that is, as you very much know, it's a very large genre, right? I mean, when you talk about podcasts, it's the number one type of podcast. You talk about, documentaries on streamers, it's the number one type. And so, we felt that a live event that was both educational, responsible, and in a way helped advocate the community, not just to look back on tragedy, but to also look forward and think about support and how do we help and how do we advocate, whether that's legislatively or just, awareness in the public consciousness, that was missing. And so, I knew absolutely nothing about live events 7 years ago, thank God, because I probably would have never done this. And we just jumped right in and really, kind of the community took it from there. It's sort of been growing every year. We started with around 700 fans, and we're going to have around 6,000 in Nashville this year.
Wow. So tell me, I've been to Comic Con, so I know what Comic Con is like. And there are all kinds of other cons these days, these conventions in different genres. But tell me what actually goes down. What happens at Crime Con?
Yeah, and thanks for saying that. It's for people that have been exposed to more traditional cons like Comic-Con, it is very, very different. So the first thing is we're not really an expo hall focused con, so we do have one, but that's not the core of the experience. The core of the experience is really the programming sessions.
Okay.
So if you come, you've got 4 stages going on every hour for the entire weekend. And we try to diversify it, right? So on one stage, you might have somebody talking about a cold case. Maybe the family and the detectives are there. And another one, it might be a forensic type topic, right? We're going to go into genetic genealogy or ballistics or how to process a crime scene. And so really people can sort of choose their way through the weekend in terms of the topics that appeal to them.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, there is a small expo hall. We bring in a ton of creators. That's one of the things that's been, really popular with the convention is taking folks who are talking about a lot of different types of cases that you're not going to find on Netflix and you're not going to find on Dateline NBC. And, letting them come in and talk to an audience as well. So also very important to mention, unlike Comic-Con, this is our atmosphere, as I mentioned, is very built very much on respect and very much knowing that a lot of victims and families are present at our convention. You're not going to see anyone dressing up as Luke Skywalker or, any serial killer walking around here.
Yeah. You mentioned this earlier, and I want to come to this right quick before I bring Jordan to our conversation. And you're right about this. Obviously, you know what you speak. I was just reading some data the other day. I run a station, of course, here in L.A., and this program is nationally syndicated, so this is what I do. And this program, shortly after we finish discussing, my team will go in strip out the commercials of this conversation, and it'll be posted as a podcast, as are all my conversations. So I'm live every day across the country on terrestrial radio. And if you miss me live on terrestrial radio, you can always go to any of my platforms, listen to the podcast of any of my conversations. So I understand how the podcast thing works. I do it every single day. But I was reading some stuff because of that, because of what I do. I was reading some data the other day, and you're right. On any list you look at, these true crime podcasts are just blazing. I mean, these things are being listened to more than anything else writ large in the podcast space. And these days, everybody got a podcast. My dog got a podcast. Everybody's got one. But these true crime podcasts are burning up this space. Why do you think that is, Kevin?
Well, and Joy can certainly talk about that as well. And it's not just podcast, Tavis. It's really, we call it, we actually changed it from calling it podcast row to creator row, because now we're seeing, YouTubers and TikTokers and sort of, we don't care what platform they're on.
Right.
I think in true crime, look, in across technology is what we make of it, right? And I think across a lot of these content genres, whether it's books, where back in the day you had to have an agent, you had to have a Simon & Schuster say your book's good and all that sort of stuff. Now anybody can publish a book on Amazon, right? Mm-hmm. Back in the day, to radio, you needed an agent, you needed a station to sign you up and prove you have some talent. And now anyone can be a podcaster. So there's good and bad of that, in that people, it's now buyer beware. Are you listening to someone who knows what they're talking about, someone who's done their research, someone who is being respectful in the way they talk about the stories in this genre? So it's hard, but I think it's democratized in that anybody who grew up where there was a homicide in their hometown where they're a kid and it's been forgotten and unsolved, like sort of anybody can pick that up now. And there's power in that. It's just you've got to also be very careful and responsible with that power.
No, I get it. Joy, I'm delighted to have you on for a number of reasons, not the least of which is I've been wanting to talk about this with somebody, and you're the right person to talk about it. And in preparation for our conversation, I've been obviously doing a lot of reading. And I read a pretty provocative piece not long ago, and the title of the piece is, "Why is true crime still negating black victims and their loved ones' stories?" Why is true crime still negating black victims and their loved ones' stories, or from the story? And the writer of this particular article, excuse me, that I'm referencing right now, was essentially arguing that the true crime community, which is burgeoning, as Kevin just said a moment ago, still has a lot of work to do when it comes to narrative focus. How would you respond to that question, and why true crime is still negating black victims and their loved ones' stories? Joy?
Well, I think it's across the board. When we think about media coverage and how our cases are covered, we often are underrepresented. Our stories are often not told. And I think that's why you're seeing this also play into the true crime genre, which is really interesting when you think about a third of true crime viewers are women of color. And also when you think about what's going on in our communities, it's not being represented fairly and accurately. And oftentimes these stories are skewed. And so I think what is happening is that what has happened in society for years, that we're often overlooked, or we think that because the crime that happens in our community, we deserve it, or we brought it upon ourselves. So these stories don't often get the attention that they deserve. And that's why I really commend, Kevin to step up and say, we need to change this narrative about true crime being white-centric, because our stories need to be told as well.
I want to talk more specifically about the work and witness. I think I can put it that way, the work and witness that Joy Sutton engages in this particular space. Pleased to have Joy Sutton on this program, and the Crime Con founder, Kevin Baff. More with them when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
You're listening to Tavis Smiley. Tavis Smiley. Ranked number 45 on the Heavy 100 list of the 100 most important radio talk show hosts in America.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month. If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Watch out! You got me! The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Hi, Tavis Smiley here. We're getting closer to June 18th, and time is running out for you to register to join us for our historic symposium live on C-SPAN, Tuesday, June 18th, 4 to 7 p.m. at the California Science Center in Exposition Park. Admission is free, but you must register at KBLA1580.com right now if you want to be in the audience when the nation will see for the first time ever a stage full of brilliant black folk talking about the urgency of now. Climate justice, climate equity, climate resilience. It's all going down. Well, it's actually all going up. Tuesday, June 18th, 4 to 7 p.m. live from the California Science Center in Exposition Park. Again, admission is free, but we're filling up fast. So if I were you, I would log on right now to KBLA1580.com to reserve your seat. Caring about the climate, caring about the community. We're KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Ew, gotta get rid of this old Backstreet Boys t-shirt.
Tell me why.
Because it stinks, boys.
Tell me why.
I've washed it so many times, but the odor won't come out.
Tell me why.
No, you tell me why I can't get rid of this odor.
Have you tried Downy Rinse and Refresh? It doesn't just cover up odors, it helps remove them.
Wow, it worked, guys.
Yeah.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes more odor in one wash than the leading value detergent in 3 washes. Find it wherever you buy laundry products.
He's rooting for everybody black. Everybody black. More of Tavis Smiley coming your way right now.
More of Tavis Smiley and crime confounded Kevin Bath and black and missing advocate Joy Sutton coming your way right about now. Watching my time here. Joy Sutton, tell me more about your work and witness in this space when it comes to black and missing persons.
Yes, so I work alongside the Black and Missing Foundation. We are the #1 organization that is bringing awareness to missing people of color. You know, our mission and focus is really to have equal media coverage and law enforcement support for our missing. And one of the things that we stand behind is really what Kevin is doing, because we know, like he said, 6,000 people come to CrimeCon, and this is a place that we can begin to change the narrative. Black and Missing actually started its own podcast. As you mentioned, podcasts are, popping up everywhere because we realized that we needed to have a voice in this space. We can no longer wait for people to share and tell our stories. We have to do it ourselves. And we started Untold Stories, Black and Missing. As you mentioned, it has taken off. People are really interested in finding out what's going on in our community. We're not just telling stories of missing people, but we're also looking at what are the underlying reasons why people in our community are going missing. So we are an advocate for missing people of color. We are here for them to support these families, but also to raise awareness about the topic we're discussing today.
Let me ask you point blank. We talk all the time about the notion that Black lives matter. Let me just ask you directly, do Black victims matter?
Absolutely. And it's unfortunate that in this country, we still have to ask that question, Tavis, because we should be treated equally as in every member of society. The fact that we have to even be discussing this in 2024 is ludicrous to me. But it is still an issue. It's something we have to discuss, and it's the reason why the Black and Missing Foundation, has stepped up to the plate to say, hey, we are going to be a voice in this area. We're going to bring recognition to these victims. We're going to not paint them with the stereotypes of they are promiscuous or brought this behavior upon themselves, but we're going to show our community and the crimes that are perpetrated against our people and change the narrative around this to get more help and more support and to shine light on the injustices that are often overlooked.
Let me ask you right quick. We are in California. As I said, we're syndicated across the country, as you know, but I'm based in L.A., so I'm here in California. And my friend and brother, Steve Bradford, state senator, is the one who got that ebony alert as part of legislation here in California. So we don't just have an amber alert, we have an ebony alert, and other states have followed suit. Given what we've done here in California, are those ebony alerts effective? Are they working? Are they making a difference?
Yes, absolutely. I think anytime we can take the authority away from the individual and have an alert that forces people to issue alerts for our community, it is tremendous. Because a lot of times our individuals fall through the cracks. They may not be represented through the Amber Alert, which is for children, or the Silver Alert, which is for seniors, and we're falling through the cracks. So we need alerts like the Ebony Alert that bridge that gap, that allow, people in our community, our state police, our crime, our law enforcement officials to be able to issue alerts when our people go missing. Because it is unfortunate that when we go missing, we go missing longer.
Oh, yeah.
So we're out there searching. Even one of the panels I'm going to be talking about at CronCon, Invisible Victims, Families Finding Strength in Tragedy. Two of the people there, their loved ones were missing for years. One man, Derek Butler, his sister was missing for 8 years. He had to fight with law enforcement. He had to secure media coverage, but it took 8 years of fighting just to get representation to find out that his sister was murdered.
That's a great segue. When we come forward, I want to ask CrimeCon founder Kevin Balfe how he builds a more inclusive, how he helps to build, it ain't all his responsibility, but how he helps to build with CrimeCon a more inclusive, true crime community. We'll put that to Kevin when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Seeking the truth, speaking the truth. This is the Tavis Smiley Show.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found BenefitsCheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. BenefitsCheckup.org.
My daughter was diagnosed with a rare malignant rhabdoid tumor on the spine. They sent her straight to St. Jude. My hope was gone. But when you get there, everyone's like, hey, we're not going to give up. And when you see other people not giving up on your child, that makes all the difference in the world. When I found out I didn't have to pay, I was just grateful. They saved my baby's life.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts. Hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, in downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity.
More honesty than you can handle. More empowerment than you can imagine. You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and CrimeCon founder Kevin Balfe and Black and Missing advocate Joy Sutton. Kevin, how then do you with CrimeCon help to do your part to build a more inclusive true crime community, given what Joy and I were just discussing?
Well, I look at it as there's three distinct parts to this, and we can provide the grease, and we sort of need these things to all play with each other. So there's the media, right? And thank you for this. You're a huge part of these efforts, and others are as well, who are understanding the need for this. So we need the amplification. Two is at the con and the things that we control. We need to bring in people who can identify with the topics and cases that we're covering, right? That these are like them, that this is not something separate that is covering some different part of true crime. This is for everyone. These are human problems. These are American problems. So if we bring in the speakers to cover those cases and topics, then we attract the people to follow those speakers. It sort of becomes this kind of perpetual motion machine that sort of plays on each other with the media amplifying it. Mm-hmm. And just a couple quick examples of that, topic-wise, right? It's not just, yes, cases. We understand that there's specific cases that need to be covered in the community, and we're doing that. But even topics, right, Tavis? Like, Black Americans are 7 times more likely to be the victims of a wrongful conviction than other groups. So let's talk about wrongful convictions. Like, what is driving that? What's happening? Where is that coming from? And what can then people do? Let's give them a mission. Let's give them some advocacy. What do we want them to do when they go back to all 50 states and around the country afterward? What do we want them to do? Do we want them signing petitions? Do we want them just trying to elect the right people who sort of follow these things? And I think that's where we fit in, is to sort of set structure and push these sort of topics and agendas forward.
All right, I'll give you the last 40 seconds, Kevin. Lean into it. Do what you do. You said it was your favorite topic, so here's your chance to tell me all about CrimeCon, dates, locations, how people can participate. Take it away, sir.
Thank you. Wow, I've never had that before. CrimeCon 2024 is in Nashville this coming weekend. We start on Friday and go to Sunday. If you're in the area, I would love to have you stop by. CrimeCon.com is the place for that. We haven't announced the location for next year yet, but we're in September 2025, and we'll announce that here this weekend as to where. So those will go on sale a little bit in June. And then if you can't make it in person, there's a couple different things to do. The big one this year is SiriusXM is going to pick up some of about 16 different hours of sessions next weekend, so June 8th, 9th. And so you can hear a bunch there. But again, from a standpoint of, like, if people can just, even if it's a few years from now that you make it out an event, I just think the power that we've seen, and Tavis, tell me if play me out on the Oscar music if you need to, but one of the things I'm most proud of.
It's about to start. You got 10 seconds. Go ahead.
All right. So I'm not going to go into that, but Joy's awesome. You're awesome. Thank you for amplifying this, and we're just going to keep doing what we're doing and hope we speak for everybody.
No, I appreciate you. We'll talk about CrimeCon again, I am certain, but I wanted to make sure the audience is aware of this burgeoning conference. Now 7 years in the making, started with a few hundred people. Now they got over 6,000 participants. It is growing, it is building, and I'm so glad that Joy Sutton and others are there to make sure that true crime does not negate Black victims and their lives and their stories. And so I've been honored to have had Kevin Balfe, the founder of CrimeCon, and Black and Missing advocate Joy Sutton on this program. Joy, all the best to you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. And thank you, Tavis, for bringing us to people's attention. This is a call to action, so we hope more people will show up and get involved.
My great delight. And Kevin, have a great conference, sir. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Tavis. Appreciate it.
More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. A pretrial hearing is set for today for disgraced movie producer Harvey Weinstein. Prosecutors are looking for a retrial on rape and sexual assault charges after a conviction earlier this year was vacated on a production assistant. Chicago, Illinois is coming off a violent Memorial Day weekend that included more than 40